How to create a grid-like design like this in Affinity Photo combined with Designer, and you can create all kinds of unique designs. It's alive, it's a vector design you can modify in countless ways. Just going to show you how in this quick video. First thing to do, create a rectangle. Very basic design. Just go over here and rectangle, and I'm just going to go to the top and I'm just going to drag. Now what you've got there may vary. You have to go over here to the fill and you can change it, maybe go with a solid color if you want. Go with that first, and then what you need to do is go now to Designer. So File, and then down here to Edit in Designer. Now it will come up with a prompt saying save it. Now if you haven't saved it already, just give it a file name, one.desktop. Just something like that. Just put it to the desktop and go with that. Save. Okay, so now in Designer you see exactly the same thing. But now the key thing is this, the Symbols panel. Symbols panel, you can find that in the window menu. And with that you can add this design as a symbol. And I know it doesn't look very much at the moment, but of course you can add to it. And that's what I'll be doing later. So just go over here, select it, and then go here and click create. So it's added as a symbol. And the great thing about symbols is that you modify any, obviously, duplication of that also will change in exactly the same way. So that's the great thing about symbols. It's very similar to the linked feature in Photo, but I think the linked feature is quite limited. So let's just now create multiple copies of this. I want to create a grid. Now you could do it, just start using Alt or Option key and drag and duplicate. But with the Move tool selected, press Return or Enter, and you'll get this Move duplicate. And then you can simply just go over here, click Duplicate, and then move this value, and you can see it moves there. Position it there, and you can see now maybe make it slightly less. Yeah, something like that. And you can modify the number of copies. And I can go across the screen. I'm not going to go that far. I'm going to go with 5. Obviously, it will vary depending on the size of the initial design. And click OK. Well, now what you can do is you can select all of those. They're all identical. They're all symbols, all exactly the same symbol. And I can resize this. I'm just going to make it so it fills the document. And again, press Return or Enter. And then you get the vertical. And you can just change that. And you can see I move that down, but you need to put duplicate there, otherwise that will leave a space. Oops, don't want that. I want vertical, and just drag it down. And you can see then I can get to about there, maybe. That's about right, I think. It's hard to judge exactly. Okay. And I'm just going to add another one as well. So just 2 and click OK. Now I've filled the entire screen there. Let's just drag over the whole lot. And if you haven't selected it, you can always do it, of course, in the other application. So let's just go back to Photo and File and Edit in Photo. So File and Edit Photo, save it again. That's what it needs. And now you're back here. Now, once you've done that, what you can see, go to the Move tool and select them all, or maybe just go over to Layers. And then you can resize it. So you can just make it so it does fit the entire document. Okay, so you've got this design. Well, now what you can do is you can add additional things to it. Maybe another rectangle. So let's just go here, and I'm going to work from this. Everything's going to be relative to this top one. And the top one here means it's right down the bottom here, down here. So go down here to the symbol, and you can expand it out. So just click there, and then you can see, of course, as always, it's just too short. But you can see now you've got that rectangle there. Now I can add another rectangle to that. So I've got this one selected here, and I want to add an additional rectangle. So I'm just going to go over here. Here's the rectangle tool, and I'm just going to add it. However, what you need to do, make certain this is turned on, this insert. And also, don't select the symbol. What you need to select is the rectangle. If you select the symbol, it will put it on top, which is not the same thing. So now with this rectangle, this set, I can now add an additional rectangle on top of this. Now, of course, it's the same color, so you're going to see the same. So click here, and I'm just going to add a gradient. So let's just go and add a gradient. And you could add stops, maybe change it, make it all kinds of different colours. You can get something like that, a linear effect. So you've got now this gradient. But you can see here, if you go down to the symbol, you can see rectangle, and within that, or inside it, you've got that rectangle with this gradient. And I know that looks a bit odd, but it does mean you can manipulate that without modifying the rectangle when you apply effects, etc. I find it's nicer to work the effect within the actual, this one, not this. Okay, now with this I can add effects as well. So I can just go to effects, so click effects, and in effects I can go to say 3D, and I can change the radius. I can also change the bevel and emboss, and a whole load of different things. Now you might have to push it a bit. Let's go, because obviously it's slightly bigger, so just increase the size to 50 or 60 or 100. And of course you can still do all the various things. You can change direction, and you can see you get this sort of effect. And close, you could also use, of course, other ones as well. But it does mean when you've got access to this, you can actually move it around. So you can just change it just by just moving that, and it will change for all of them. Exactly the same. It's a symbol. The symbol is being modified, and all of them will change accordingly. There's a few filters that will not modify them, like vignette is one that does cause a bit of a problem with it. But however, you've got this, and you can also resize it. You can see you get different effects like that, and so on. So a whole range of different options when you can just have it inside, maybe slightly bigger, maybe the same size. Doesn't particularly matter, but I've got it slightly bigger. Now, once you've done that, you can also apply effects as well. Now you could apply a filter effect. You can go over here to filters, but as soon as you do that, you're going to make it a pixel. I'm keeping everything, in this case, as a vector. So as a vector means you can come back to it, modify it, tweak it, resize it, make it any size. Whereas if you go with a pixel, then you've sort of like frozen it. So now I'm just going to go here. I've got this rectangle, the one that's inside is selected. So go to layer, and then new layer, filter layer, and then distort. And you could use any of these ones, absolutely perfectly reasonable, but I'm going to go with 12. It's a very visual, and it's all applied around here. So let's just drag this over. So with this, you can change the origin point. So you just click. Now, because the default is 0, you can't see anything. Let's just increase that, and also change radius. And then you can move it around, and you can see as you do that, you get something like that. And you get this sort of effect. It's inside, so you're not modifying the thing there. You could, of course, use preserve alpha and all those sort of things. But I quite like the additional feature for this. You can combine multiple entries, not just one rectangle. You could have 20 or 30 within the same thing. You could make it as complex, weird designs as you want by using this approach. And also you've got blend modes, and of course you try out different things there, how it combines, maybe go difference, and so on. You can see different effects there, but I'm just going to go with normal. But I think that's a nice looking design, and that's repeated all the way through. Now, you can see now I've got the 12. If I expand out any of these, you see, if I just expand that out, that's got the 12 as well. It's exactly identical. Anything, all the same. And also if you change it, they will change. Anywhere you can change it. So let's just go back. And now with this 12 here, I can now go back to say this rectangle. I can move it around, reposition it. But also what I can do, I can add additional designs as well. So I don't have to keep just that solid there, that design. I can go here and ellipse tool. And again, make certain the insert inside selection is activated. And again, all relative here. Don't try and draw a design over here or wherever. Because if you do, you won't see it. And you'll be thinking, why am I'm adding it? Why isn't it appearing? Only appears if you work from this point here. So just go here and just add. And you can see you can add that. Now, if it goes wrong, and you can see here clearly it has, it's put it in the wrong position, you can always move it. I always get this wrong. I always think, oh, why is it not doing? Well, you can move it up. Just drag it, the ellipse here, just move it up, and you can put it there. And now you can see it. So it's just above this rectangle. That's what I wanted. But it's put it below. One of those things. So you don't always have to do this. Sometimes it seems to do it right. Sometimes I find it's just easy just to manipulate it and move it from the layers panel. Okay, so you've got that, and you can do exactly the same as before. Click effects, so click there, and with that, just bevel and emboss, maybe 3D, just go with that. And you can see then you can increase that and you get a lovely blob like that in the design. Maybe move it around, reposition it. You might think, well, let's just make a face looking design. So hold down the Alt Option key and then you can drag and that will duplicate that. And you've got this. Now, if you drag over the edge, you can see what happens. It just goes there. You've got this cut-off point there. So you might want to keep it there. You can also resize it and do all these sorts of things. And this is something you can't always do with the linked feature. I think the linked feature, which is in layer, you can see there you've got duplicate linked. It works to a degree, but I find this approach, which does need designer, is far more effective, I think, than the other. And you can just tweak around, move around, do various things. And also, if you want, you can rasterize it and change the angle for the gradient and much, 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 much more. So you've got that. And if you want, of course, you can select all of them. So let's just select all of them, make certain they're all selected. And there they're all selected there. You can then right click and you can then go to group. So you can put them all into a single group, which you might want to work with. And of course, then if you want, you can then save it to your assets. So you might think, I might use this design later, another day. So window and assets. And then you've got here, assets here. Go here and you've got the assets there. You can go to this menu here, click there, add from selection. And then you've got that design. And of course, then you can just drag it over and you can use it again. And they're separate, individual, and you can move it around, reposition it, tweak it. And at any point, you can always change any of these symbols. They're all identical. So any point, just change it, modify it. You might decide you want to change the twirl, you want to change the lip. They can all be changed. They're all live. They're all vectors. Nothing is turned into a pixel layer at this point. Hope you found this of interest. Any questions, please let me know in the comments below. A like or dislike, always appreciated. Bye.